there is one major thing you must know, even as a believer, and that is God hates that your life should be stagnant. God hates it that you should be stagnant. The Bible makes us understand in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18 that as we behold the glory of Christ, we are turned to the same image and we have to move from glory to glory. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18 says that the path of the just shineth more and more unto that glorious day. It tells you what God desire for your life. And that is why in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, God says you must subdue, replenish, and take dominion over this whole earth. That means you must not be stagnant. It is not in the plan of God. It is anti-covenant for you to be stagnant. Yes, your life is a process. You start from somewhere, but you are not allowed to stay in that place. You have to continue to move higher and higher from glory to glory. That is the plan of God for your life. You may be living in a room apartment now, but the plan of God is you must move higher for your life, that you must continue to move from glory to glory. The fact that you are a believer does not say that you must be poor, does not say that your life should be stagnant. The fact that you are married does not say that your life should be stagnant. It doesn't matter what happens within your environment or around you. It does not stop your upward movement. The Lord wants you to continue to move higher and higher from glory to glory. Stagnancy is never in the plan of God for your life. And that is why today we are going to treat the issue of stagnancy even as a believer. Why do believers remain stagnant? Most times we tend to put most of the blame or the reason over spiritual attack. Yes, that is true in one context. That is just a fragment of what can make you to be stagnant. But most times that is where the devil has pushed the mind and the heart of people to. And that is why we prayed a lot. And praying, yes, is one of the ways by which you break stagnancy in your life. Never underestimate the power of prayer. But according to Romans chapter 12, verse 1, the Bible says that there must be a renewing in your mind. In other words, the reason why many people actually are stagnant is because of the state of their mind. There are certain factors that you allowed that makes you to be stagnant in life. Why? What are the things that you must do to break out of stagnancy? Number one, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, it says that he who walk with the wise shall become wise. Now, the association that you keep, if you are keeping association with those that are stagnant in life, then your life may also become stagnant because the association that you keep has a lot to do with your life. The association that you keep has a lot to do with your life. So you have to make sure that the association that you keep must be those people that are moving in life. Watch most of those rich people, watch people that are great in life. They have their carcass that they are moving with. As this one is buying more land, that one is going into banking industry, and they continue to move because that is the association that you belong to. Have you also noticed that even while you are in school, those that are very brilliant usually move together, and those that are with the middle class in terms of intelligence also move together. Even the so-called that we call the lodos also move together. And if you want to move from one place, if you want to now continue to move, not to be stagnant in life, then you have to join the train of those that are achieving in life. Number two, and that is procrastination. Procrastination. Most of the things that make you stagnant in life is because you have procrastinated most of the things you ought to do. You have procrastinated what you need to do. And that is what Jesus was telling himself in John chapter 4. In John chapter 4, he told them, he said, my meat is to do the work that the Father has sent me to do. Wherever he is, he doesn't procrastinate. Jesus do what he has to do, and that is why he never live a stagnant life. When you begin to procrastinate, what an idea came and then you said I will do it tomorrow, that idea will become stagnant, and over years your life also becomes stagnant. I want to begin to reassess and examine yourself. As this message is going on, you will discover that the reason why you are still stagnant where you are, it is because you have procrastinated some things that you ought to do. Some people procrastinate marriage and then they remain a bachelor for a long time. Some people procrastinate their studies, and that's why they remain in the same certificate they've got for the past 10 years. So needed, some other things that they need to do. And that is why their financial state has remained stagnant to where it is for a long time. Why do you think that you are still living in that apartment that you are? Because you are procrastinating. And before rent for accommodation will continue to so high. And before you know it, it has so much high that you cannot even afford it again. Why have you not built your own house? You procrastinated to buy a land when it is just 20,000. Now, an half plot of land, even in rural area, is being sold for 300,000 now. So procrastination is one of the major reasons why many people are stagnant in life. Then number three is what you are living for. What is the mentality of what you are living for? There are many people that are living in their past. This is how my parent has been doing it. And when you are doing how your parent has been doing, you can never grow beyond what your parent did in their life. Some are living in the present, only in the present. If you are living in the present, sooner or later you will be outdated because the present day will be the past tense of tomorrow. And then, for those that are living in the future, they will continue to move higher. They can never be stagnant. Both yesterday, living in yesterday and living in today will make you to be stagnant. But when you are living for the future, what is coming up, and let me tell you, the most important part of your life is your future, because that is where you are heading to. That is where you are heading to. The same thing affects churches. When you are living for the old are passing away. When you are living for the present, sooner or later they will become the old. But when you move for the future, what are we going to do? Let's be ready for the future. Then we will continue to move. You will not be stagnant. Apostle Paul said, I forgot those things that has passed. I press onward for the prize that is set before me. The next one is the blame game. One of the things that make people to be stagnant in life is the blame game. You blame the government for your misfortune. You blame your parents for where you are. You blame your wife. You blame your husband. You blame your children. You blame your employer. You blame every other person except yourself. That is what Adam and Eve did in Genesis chapter 3. They blame the Adam was blaming Eve. Eve was blaming the serpent. But it's quite funny that Satan didn't blame anybody. Satan didn't blame anybody. One of the things that Satan used to destroy a man's life is to give you a blame game, to give you excuses, why something did not work. Nothing will work if you don't work it. The next one is complacency. What do we mean by complacency? Complacency is when you are satisfied with the state that you are. Once you are satisfied with the state that you are, you will never move out of that state. You will remain in that stage forever. But let me tell you one thing, in life, nothing remains the same forever. The permanent thing in life is change. What is permanent in life is change. Even the world that you are living in is moving. If you don't move, those that are behind you will pass you and then you become a relic. I pray your first will not be the last in Jesus' name. The next thing is where there is no vision and expectation. The Bible said that the expectation of the righteous shall not be cut off, but the righteous must have an expectation. Where there is no vision, people will perish. When there is no vision, people will perish. So, when you fail to have a vision for your life, where you want to be. If you don't have a destination, any place will become your destination. But when you have where you are going, then every day you want to move to get closer to your destination. And success is a journey, not a destination. So when you achieve a particular success, you move on again to achieve another one, you move on. So in such a state, you can never be stagnant. It is because you lack vision. What is your vision for this year? What is your vision for next year? In 5 years' time, what are your vision? What are the plan that is on ground, to take you there? If you don't have this, then you will live a stagnant life. The next one is the popular belief, and that is the spiritual attack. That is a spiritual attack. Yes, by spiritual attack, a lot of people's life are stagnant. But when you know how to hold on to God in prayer, then if it's on this base of spiritual attack, the Bible says it will be broken off. Who is that mountain before Zerubbabel? It shall become a plain ground. In other words, even if you don't pray, your life will also become stagnant. Daniel was praying in Daniel chapter 9. He was praying, but the prince of Persia stopped his prayer, wanting him to remain stagnant, but he pressed on in that prayer. And at the end, help, more help was sent, and then he received the answers to his prayers. No matter what you are praying for, if you have not got it, don't stop to pray. That's why the Bible says, pray without ceasing. There is more than meeting the eye, truly. And that is why you must continue to pray. We are not saying you should not pray. Prayer is part of the major weapon to break the state of stagnancy, and it works for your spiritual state. When there's a spiritual attack or a curse upon your life that is making sure that you don't move on in life. So spiritual attack is one major thing that can make you to remain stagnant, and prayer will break the stronghold. The next one is unfaithfulness. In Luke chapter 19, Jesus told the parable of those that were given gifts, to occupy, to work with. And the one that has one, who is the only person that did not work his own. And because he didn't work his own faithfully, he remained stagnant. And what happened? Jesus took what he has. The reason why you have lost some of the opportunity in life is because of your unfaithfulness. Because when you are unfaithful in another man's matter, the Bible says, who will give you your own? When you are not faithful in the things of God, when you are not faithful in your tithe and offering, then you are bound to be stagnant. God gives you, bless you in certain things, and you cannot even pay 10% of it, to God. You are not faithful in your tithe, and then it can make you to be stagnant. You know, there are people, it's because they became wealthy. Some of the sin they don't commit before they start committing it. They become unfaithful, and before you know it, everything that has been given will be taken, and their life will remain stagnant. When you are faithful over little, then you will be given the opportunity to rule over many. And then another thing is your mindset. What is in your mindset? What are the things that you have in mind already? There are some people that certain mindset has been poisoned into their mind. For example, who tells you that a woman, a wife, cannot be richer than the husband? Who tells you that it is the eldest child in the family that must be the richest, that must be the wealthiest, that is most intelligent? It is the culture mindset. It is not biblical. It is the culture mindset. And except you break those mindset, then you won't be able, your life may be stagnant for a long time. It does not matter. You are a woman, you have entrepreneurship skill. You continue to continue in it, continue to acquire more, continue to do more. Yes, you can become richer than your husband. But when you allow some of this thing to cage you, it will cage your destiny and to make your life to be stagnant. One thing that will make your life to be stagnant is when you leave God Himself. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, the Bible said, my people committed two evil. What are the evils that they committed? They left me, they forsake God, you know, who is the living water, and then begins to gather for themselves a broken cistern. that can gather no water for them. When you forsake God, you have automatically signed the warrant for your life to be stagnant. You need to look for God. And Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father but by me. So when you seek Jesus, He will take you to the Father. And when He takes to the Father, then the Father will take you just like the prodigal son and then demold your life. And you can be sure that your life will never remain the same again. God bless you.